Now, Morgan Freeman accused of harassment, producer Harvey Weinstein charged with rape, Bill Cosby awaiting sentencing for being found guilty of assault. All three worked on shows and movies that were enjoyed by millions of us. And many of these people feel, I can't ever watch these movies again. We've been asking Opinion Nation, can you still watch a show when a star is accused of sexual harassment? Sharing your thoughts on HLN TV Twitter page. Also, I'm at Lynn Smith TV. Join the conversation. Jawn Murray, a pop culture expert and TV journalist, is joining Kelly Wallace, CNN digital correspondent, and Pete Dominick, Sirius XM political talk show host, to have this conversation with me here on the show. So, Jawn, I want to start with you. Has this happened to you yet? Your idol falling into this category?
Oh, absolutely, Lynn. You know, I went to a historically black college and university really based on Bill Cosby's show, A Different World. And so I still enjoy A Different World, never wanted to leave TV. You know, I'm still able to watch The Cosby Show. Now, if Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable is fixing a drink, I often give him a side eye because I know Bill Cosby, that's how he used to drop his Quaaludes. But I'm a professional wrestling fan. And when Gawker released that unauthorized sex tape of Hulk Hogan, and he was seen on the sex tape using the N-word and speaking disparagingly about African-American men because his daughter was dating one. For me, I was outraged by that. So I supported WWE firing him, erasing his likeness, and I'm still kind of pissed off that they're talking to him about coming back sometime soon.
Pete, can you get over it?
Oh, it all depends. Jawn makes a lot of good points. As a white, straight guy, I don't have to have as many differences and hang-ups. It's not my category of people that I have to be conflicted over. I just know that it's wrong, and I don't approve of it. I will say Louis C.K. I was pretty friendly with. I've been a stand-up comedian for years. He's no Bill Cosby. But I think that when you're listening to just a stand-up comedian, for example, a solo artist, it's a little different than even watching The Cosby Show or watching a film that Morgan Freeman is starring. And remember, there's hundreds of people that go into making a film. There's a number of people in a cast. So whether it's Shawshank Redemption or some other movie or TV show, that's an ensemble. When it's just one person on stage or it's somebody who's a writer, it's an individual, it seems a little bit different to me to separate the art from the artist. Lynn.
That's interesting. Kelly, do you think the answer is different for men versus women?
Well, you know, it's a good question. I mean, I was nodding my head because I agreed with Pete. When you're looking at the ensemble cast, it's a different story. I had my own experience with House of Cards. I was very behind, right? I hadn't gotten to season 5 yet, and then we had all the allegations against Kevin Spacey. And I would say, for a long time, I thought, all right, I'm just over. I'm not going to go back to House of Cards. And then I thought about it, that there are a lot of other people that are part of this. This whole series is an ensemble of people. But I did start watching again, and I would say to you, Lynn, as a woman too, it's hard to watch sometimes and not be distracted by some of those allegations. So I do think it's a case-by-case basis. It is hard, though, I find, to not be thinking of those allegations when I'm watching some of those shows.
And Jawn, what do you think about some of the implications on that ensemble cast? You know, you look at The Chew, it was just canceled. Mario Batali was fired from that show. Ratings tanked afterward. We don't know why, but they tanked. They canceled the show. 3 great people who had no allegations against them lost their jobs.
Well, Lynn, to be accurate about The Chew, the ratings slipped, but they didn't tank. The Chew was still the 3rd most successful daytime talk show, only behind Dr. Phil and The View. So there were 8 other shows they were still doing very better than, and the show was successful because they did a lot of brand integrations. Those things they were cooking with, the people paid to be on the show. So that was really more about Batali and not about the ratings. But I think that people should be able to separate the artist from the art. I think it should be a choice. The real thing here is, and I talked to 2 TV programming executives on my way to the show today, and they both said it really comes down to advertisers. Advertisers don't want to buy the time block when you have these controversial figures in their shows on the TV networks.
And also, Pete, don't you think it's kind of important for people to stop watching to make sure others know it's not going to be okay in your career if you do this?
Well, yeah, for sure. I think the market is making a lot of decisions in terms of the future of any one of these people's that have these crimes alleged against them work, depending on what they've done in the past, you know, is going to predict maybe if they ever work again in their future. I would disagree a little bit with what Jawn said, and I wonder if he agrees with me. The idea that we should enjoy or should not enjoy, I think that's I think that's open to interpretation. We live in this world of zero sum. You do it or you don't. You're in or you're out. The truth is, if you were a victim of a sex crime, of rape, of assault, it may not matter to you. It's up to you to decide if you're uncomfortable watching this person's past work or any of their future work. And I think that's up to the actual viewer and the person who decides to hopefully pay for that film or rent it on any other service. I was about to name one.
And, you know, Kelly, to you, it's interesting. I was just reading the Opinion Nation as they were popping up, and some people are really split on this issue. What do you think makes the difference for folks?
You know, I think it's an individual person's perspective for sure, right? I mean, as Pete was saying, if you have been victimized, if you have had your own personal experience, you may be bringing that to the program that you're watching. It also, I might add, is also how other people around that person react. And I was thinking about this whole story involving the cast of Arrested Development this week. A lot of controversy. Your viewers might know the cast was talking, and the male members of the cast weren't really very sensitive to the female member who said she was verbally harassed by Jeffrey Tambor. And I thought this was all promotion, by the way, that they were trying to do before season 5 of Arrested Development. I think a lot of women might have a hard time now sitting around and watching that show because of how these other men on the show handled that issue. And this is 7 months or so after Me Too. So now you're having even other factors. You're having how some of these people, men and women, are handling these issues even outside the allegations, and I think that's impacting viewers, in particular women.
Maybe that's why they were out there talking. Pete, I'll give you the last word.
I would just add that this is a great panel and a great conversation because you have 2 women and 1 person of color and 1 white guy. And I think the impetus often has to be on the men, and especially white men, to be able to say, as you saw in that package earlier, I don't have a problem with Morgan Freeman. Well, he didn't do anything to you. It's our job to have a certain sense of empathy and sensitivity to people of color, minorities, and say, just because he didn't do something to me and I can't relate to it, doesn't mean I shouldn't try. That's the problem, and that's where the work comes for white guys like me.
I think empathy is a little something we need all over the universe right now. All right, Jawn Murray, Callie Wallace, Pete Dominic, some great insight, you guys. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.